This video is a follow-up to my recent review of the most prominent corruption effects in World of Warcraft patch 8.3. In this one I will show you why Gushing Wound effect is more of a scratch really. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Gyro here. How are you doing today? So as I just said, we are going to be following up on the previous review of corruption effects, and I am driven by another comment on the previous video by one of my viewers who suggested that I should see the Gushing Wound for what it is. Apparently it has only one tier, and apparently it scales up with your item level. At the very least, that's what the person suggested that I need to take a look at, and I thought, why not? I'm still not in beta yet, so why not take a look at this and have a little bit of a fun run. As you just saw, I demonstrated to you gear of my paladin, so I'm keeping the environment as close as possible to the original test, where I had Twilight Devastation rank 3 on my protection paladin. So I ran basically Stormwind in that previous video, as shown to you when we were rating those corruption effects. So Twilight Devastation did 6 million damage. 6 million damage. It won head and shoulders over the other effects, the other two that we were looking at, Infinite Stars and the Echoing Void. Gushing Wound, I thought I have a very low rank 1, only corruption level of 15, and the numbers that kind of were shown, the damage that was shown on the tooltip of the spell was kind of nothing to write home about. I was like, why would I even bother with this? But that comment of my viewer sparked interest, and I cross-checked it with Wowhead, which looks like they're right, which kind of suggests that yes, there is only one rank of that effect. And plus, if you are generally following conversations in the community, nerfs to the Gushing Wound that were obviously needed somehow, people were generally alluding to the fact that Gushing Wound is good. Gushing Wound is good. Okay, excellent. So, as you just saw, I changed pants. Yeah. From Twilight Devastation, massively hitting 18% of your tanking health, Twilight Devastation, I changed those pants to the ones that have Gushing Wound on them. The baby looking Gushing Wound, but I was like, okay, maybe I'm missing something in this picture. It's cool. First of all, as my viewer suggested in his comment or her comment, so looks like Gushing Wound is supposed to scale with my gear, with the item level. Well, my item level is still the same as the one I use for every other run, 453. For my casual item level, that's a pretty decent damn item level, okay? I have all Mother's Archives, I have rank 15 cloak, I can allow myself such an experiment. I deliberately don't have any other particularly impactful corruption effects that would boost my damage. I only have Gushing Wound, I reset my recount, I reset my damage meter, and I deliberately am not going to open it for the whole duration of this run. It's an unedited run, there will be no cuts. I deliberately did it this way because it's not super long. It's only about 20 minutes long, okay? This run, probably worth your attention, or as I always encourage you to, you already probably figured out by looking at the timeline of this video, you can fast forward to just the summary. Just the summary where I basically render my verdict, for the lack of a better word, at the end of the show. One thing that I'm going to say before I'm going to disappear temporarily, stand by, I'll explain, is the fact that obviously I tested other corruption effects during the week of Stormwind. So they were tested during a harder, horrific vision. As I said to you, I try to make it as close as possible so that at least the test results are indicative of, kind of, can be compared somehow to each other, not completely outlandishly different, yeah? I understand Orgrimmar is easier, I understand it's different to Stormwind, but what I've tried to do is, at the very least, I tried to, for example, not use the famous skip in the Rexar area that I use all the time. That is done to make this run a little closer in difficulty to Stormwind. Do you know what I'm saying? So I tried to, at the very least, give Gushing Wound a little bit more of a chance to do more damage to mobs without me without me skipping any content in Orgrimmar. That's how I thought I'm going to make it a little closer to the original example that we're using here, that was used for, say, Twilight Devastation run. That's one thing for me to call out specifically. Another thing to call out is that from using Gushing Wound for the very first time I used it in this run, okay? Tell me again if I'm using it wrong or whatever, but I don't think I used it massively wrong, okay? It looks to me like AoE effects, such as my shield, yeah? The Shield of the Righteous, or whatever it's called, never know the right name, but the one that paladins throw. Or, for example, the obviously the Consecration. It doesn't look like those AoE effects, or the ones that hit multiple targets, it doesn't look like they leave a Gushing Wound on all targets. And that counts for a lot. Absolutely. But it is what it is. We're measuring corruption effects here. We're trying to compare corruption effects, aren't we? So what I tried to do, and I don't know if it shows, but what I tried to do in many occasions, I tried to tab target quite a lot. Normally I don't do that, especially on AoE tanking classes like my Paladin. I never do that, I don't have to, everything is great anyway. But you will see that in many occasions where I pull more than one mob, obviously, I try to tab target 1 or 2 or 3 times at least, to make sure that at least I give a chance to Gushing Wound to proc on multiples. So I even tried to play into the Gushing Wound how it's intended to be. I tried to spread it as much as possible, in other words. With that being said, I am going to leave you to watch how it runs, how the run goes, because I'm just continuing to plow through Orgrimmar. Then please either use the description, in the description down below there will be a table of contents, the timeline of the run, where you will see where the final results are being presented, final impressions are being presented, or just drag the timeline cursor here and you will see it in the timeline of the video itself, where I will re-emerge and render my verdict and talk to you a little bit more about the numbers and what we actually are going to see from the not so Gushing Wound has gone off 358 times. 358 times, that's a lot. Doing, where is it to start with in the recount that is shown, like that will be shown in a second. First of all, where is it? Take a look. Second of all, it's done only 455 and a little bit thousand of damage. 2.1% of the total damage. 2.1% versus 23% of damage and 6 million of damage that Twilight Devastation 3 did. Like, seriously? How wrong could I have used the ability? How wrong could I have used the ability to mess up so significantly that I get such low results? It has nothing to do with the fact that it's Orgrimmar and not Stormwind. Sure, Orgrimmar is easier, but first of all, I didn't even use the skip. Second of all, I tried to tab target. I tried to use as much I tried to give Gushing Wound a chance. Come on, I tried to. Anyway, final verdict from me, rubbish effect. Rubbish effect! Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me exactly why you love it if you do. Other than that, maybe I misunderstand something. Maybe people are raving about Gushing Wound only when it comes to, I don't know, for a completely brand green/blue character in 430s who are just starting to tap into corruption effects. And it's a cheap corruption effect, obviously. It's only 15 points of corruption it applies to you. It's like nothing, right? Compared to 75 points that you pay with for something as powerful as Twilight Devastation. But honestly, the final verdict is, whatever you guys heard, whatever I have heard, whatever you and I may or may not understand properly about Gushing Wound, people who are talking about Gushing Wound, how awesome Gushing Wound is, I really don't freaking know what they're talking about. I use it on the same toon, it apparently scales to my item level. Where? 5,500 damage that is in the tooltip of Gushing Wound compared to my massive blasts of Twilight Devastation or even Infinite Star or even Echoing Void. Basically, long story short guys, in my personal opinion, Gushing Wound not even remotely worth your trouble if you're looking to buy a powerful corruption effect from Mother while corruption effects are still relevant in the game before they go completely away. Go buy something good from her, go have fun on the characters that were struggling to pump out any damage whatsoever until this point in time. So, and that's it, that's all there is. So I was glad, it was a little bit of fun, to be honest, it was a bit of fun. First time when I opened, once I did the full run and then I opened Recount, and I was like, I expected to see Gushing Wound in, I don't know, top 4. And I was like, where is it? And then I had to scroll down and there it is, 2%. 2%! My god, it's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed, Gushing Wound. And that's my verdict, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. At the very least, you took it a little bit with a grain of salt, entertainment, whatever. To my viewer who watched and gave me their opinion, they didn't even say that Gushing Wound is awesome. They just kind of tried to guide me a little bit there, which is much appreciated. It actually is. It created this opportunity to do this little inspection, created a little bit of fun experience for me, hopefully a little bit of fun experience for you, a bit of an insight into the world of corruptions that are going away from us. And these videos are going to probably be here on my channel as the old archive to look back at one day and say, oh, do you remember corruptions, how they were? But I do think as far as us talking about corruptions, this probably was the last video that I'm gonna make about corruptions, but there is more stuff to talk about. So if this has sounded overall like your cup of tea, if you kind of liked listening to me, if you have something to say, please share it with me in the comments down below, but otherwise subscribe, show your support, stay on the channel, videos are coming to you every couple of days. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye.